Hey everyone, my name's Jim Bob. How the hell are ya? You're good? That's good, because I'm fucking not. I never thought that I would ever play a video game that would cause me so much stress and frustration, but fall in love with it at the same time, in my entire life. That game is Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, because the game is about time, and it's about time. You get the point. So Crash Bandicoot, he's had such an impact on the video gaming world. He rose up as the PlayStation's first mascot to rival the other two console mascots at the time, Nintendo's Mario and Sega's Sonic the Hedgehog. So Crash Bandicoot sort of painted the way for so many successful platformers that came after it. We got Spyro, Rayman, Ratchet and Clank, Jak and Daxter, Sly Cooper. Well, to me they're all pretty good games for the PlayStation, but Crash is the first goofy character that you think of when you think of the PlayStation. He is the face of the PlayStation if you ask me, or the PS1 at least. Naughty Dog gave us an excellent platform adventure game that I keep returning to again and again just because of how iconic it is. There are only two ways to go, forwards and backwards, at least until the sequel games came out which allowed Crash to move in side-scrolling sections too. The stages are these narrow like linear levels, you smash boxes and enemies with your jump attack or spin attack, and you collect one per fruit while jumping from platform to platform while trying to avoid an untimely death. Oh, and you can collect the mass of Aku Aku, which function as hit points. Collect 1, that's 1 hit point, 2, that's 2 hit points, and 3 masks makes Crash temporarily invincible where you can pretty much smash your way through anything for about 20 seconds or less. Now, I remember Crash Bandicoot being the first game for the PlayStation that I ever played, and I remember thinking he was a fox when I was young. I was almost certain he was a fox despite the title clearly saying Bandicoot. I mean, Jim Bob, you thick piece of shit, can't you read?
I can't read.
This is a fox, this is a Bandicoot. So it was kind of funny when Uncharted 4 came out, which is also a game licensed by Naughty Dog, and you have like Nathan Drake playing Crash Bandicoot for the PS1 and he's like, yeah, he's a fox. I was like, yes Nathan Drake, thank you, at least I'm not the only one that thought that.
Not too bad.
What is that thing, a fox?
A bandicoot.
Looks like a fox. It's like a fox in jeans.
Now unfortunately, despite the success of the original trilogy and the Crash Team Racing game, Crash took a bit of a dip in quality in the era of PS2.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
Oh, okay, quite a lot. When Naughty Dog abandoned the project to move on to other titles like Jak and Daxter, Uncharted and The Last of Us, Activision took over and gave licensing rights to lesser companies. I remember playing almost every console game of Crash that came out. The original trilogy, Crash Bash, The Wrath of Cortex, Twinsanity, Tag Team Racing, Crash of the Titans and Crash Mind Over Mutant. The other ones I didn't really play as a kid were the original racing games like CTR and Nitro Kart. And after 2008, which was the release of the financial and critical flop that was Crash Bandicoot Mind Over Mutant, hit the shelves, Crash went on a 9-year hiatus. Crash was passed around from developer to developer but still under Activision. The later titles were just nowhere near as good as the amazing first 3 games and CTR. Crash became a former shadow of himself. It seemed like almost it was never going to happen, like Crash was never coming back. Then Activision and Vicarious Visions banded together to bring Crash into the modern gaming era, and it was absolutely insane. Get it? Okay, never mind. Crash Bandicoot The Insane Trilogy was incredible. Vicarious Visions gave the first 3 Crash games a fresh coat of paint and knocked it out the fucking park. And hell yes, Crash Bandicoot was back, baby. Back better than ever, appealing to its retro audience and a new modern audience. And just a few years later, Crash Team Racing Nitro Fuel was released, which is a HD remake of the original Crash Team Racing. And yet again, another awesome game. But fuck those microtransactions, Jesus Christ. So with the success of the Insane Trilogy and Nitro Fueled, fans and me in particular were just itching for more. We wanted a brand new Crash Bandicoot game, straight up fresh, with an original story, and Activision and Toys for Bob gave us exactly that. Crash Bandicoot 4, it's about time. Yeah, because it's definitely about time this game came out. So why am I reviewing this now? It's been out months. Well, I've only just played it for the first time. What else do you think? So Crash Bandicoot 4, it's about time, now brought to us by Toys for Bob and not Vicarious Visions. I had mixed feelings on this. I mean, Toys for Bob did an amazing job with Spyro Reignited Trilogy, so why not Crash? But I was a little skeptical because Vicarious Visions did an amazing amazing job. But then when I first saw the trailer for this game, I was like, what have they done to Crash? The redesign gave me bad flashbacks of other Crash games when he was given a new look, and I was worried that it wouldn't feel like Crash. But after playing the game for myself, I love this new look. It's a lot more cartoony looking than the Insane trilogy, with Crash looking a lot more wacky, and there's not as much attention to detail with his fur like in the Insane trilogy. Crash looked amazing, so whatever bad thoughts I had about the trailer were quickly smashed to pieces as soon as I played for myself. I still think that I would have preferred Crash to look exactly the way he did in the Insane trilogy to make it feel more like a follow-on, but it's not that much of an issue. This look right here, I like it. But let me talk about my experiences with seeing the trailer before I get into the actual review. I saw it and I was a little iffy about it. I mean, what I saw in the trailer seemed a little too different for my liking. I saw Crash in these weird looking suits using all these sorts of powers. I saw him grinding on rails, and so I almost immediately got Ratchet and Clank vibes from it. But after seeing some gameplay footage of it, I realised that yeah, while Toys for Bob need to keep everything in check to stay true to the original 3 games, they also need to change things up just enough so we don't get the exact same thing over and over. I mean, last time Crash went in a huge drastic change, the negative reception was insane. I don't know what the hell they were thinking with Crash when they made games like Crash of the Titans and Crash Mind Over Mutant. They feel like completely different games to what Crash is supposed to be. However, this isn't the case for Crash Bandicoot 4. Toys for Bob and Activision gave us exactly what a sequel should. They stayed completely true to the retro games and still managed to resonate it with a modern audience. Crash is back and he's better than ever. Well, I already said that with the Insane trilogy. Okay, he's better than ever, ever. If that made sense. It made sense to me. Several, and in fact near enough all of Crash's old moves are still here. He still has his trademark spin attack, he still has his jump attack, his slide attack is still here, and you have your double jump now already equipped and doesn't need unlocking. Crash is very much still Crash, so Toys for Bob have done an amazing job here. Not only that, but they managed to squeeze in just enough differences to make the experience feel fresh, but haven't changed it too much to make it feel like Crash wasn't Crash. In the old Crash Bandicoot games, you collect crystals, but this time Crash and Coco can collect these magical witch doctor masks known as the quantum masks. The first one is Lani Lowly, the phase mask. You can use him to phase through reality, and you can also use his abilities to warp in and out of different realities, which can result you activating certain platforms that you can't reach in one reality, or activating certain boxes. You'll see these platforms and boxes outlined with a see-through blue-like colour, meaning with just a push of a button, you can warp into a different reality, and the platform will just appear right in front of you so you can get to where you need to go. This is probably my favourite new addition to the game. Now the second mask is Akano. He's known as the Dark Matter Mask, and you can use his abilities to give you an infinite spin attack, which in turn you can blast your way through multiple enemies, boxes and obstacles. However, you can still die if you detonate the red TNT crates or the green nitro crates. Not only good for spinning, but with Akano's powers he can give your double jump with spinning incredible distance, and he can help you leap across large platforms to reach the other side. And then we've got Kapuna Wa, the Time Mask. She can manipulate time. This is a useful power up for Crash and Coco to use to temporarily slow down time for a majority of about 5 seconds. This helps you maneuver past dangerous obstacles like incoming blades, coming out the side of the walls, or spinning discs that you can use as platforms, and even allows you to walk across nitros, giving you an extra second to get away before they blow up. And finally, Ika Ika, the Gravity Mask. This is the one I had the most trouble with. You can use Ika Ika to turn gravity on and off. It has boxes on the ceiling. Just with the push of a button you can warp yourself onto the ceiling. This is a useful way of avoiding certain enemies, laser guards, and getting to certain platforms which are way too high. But the reason why I found this dude the hardest to use was because you had to be precise with when you push the button to use the gravity flow. Timing it absolutely perfect is essential here, because I found myself dying a lot from pressing the button too soon or not soon enough. So in hindsight, all of these masks really spice up the gameplay, and it makes it the most compelling Crash experience that I've ever played. And did I mention that this game is absolutely gorgeous? Not just its characters, but its level design too. So the gameplay is very much the same as before, with plenty of new things to keep me wanting to play more, keeping me invested to want to make me play it over and over again. Plus, whoever added this yellow circle underneath Crash, you are a fucking ledge. This makes things so much easier to pinpoint exactly where you're going to land when you're making risky jumps. In previous Crash games, you sort of had to guess and be precise in where you were going to land and just hope that you don't fall into the fucking Sarlacc pit. But in Crash 4, this little yellow circle is the perfect new addition to use whenever you want to pinpoint exactly where to land. Plus, it works perfectly when you're doing those extremely big jumps while using Akana's powers. Just like the Insane trilogy, Crash 4 gives you the option to play as Coco in all of the levels, and if you prefer to play as her, then play as her. Her control mechanics feel great too. But I think the icing on the cake in terms of gameplay has to be the new additional playable characters. There are certain stages throughout your journey on the dimensional map, mind you, brilliant callback to the original Crash game there with this island map layout. These new characters will have their very own playable levels and their very own control mechanics. It didn't just do what a lot of platformers do and give you extra characters with the same physics as the main protagonists. I played platform games in the past where you play as different characters entirely, but it just feels like an unlockable skin because the gameplay isn't that much different. That's not the case with this game. Crash 4 gets this bang on with its new characters. Other than Crash and Coco, you can also play as Tana, who is Crash's girlfriend girlfriend from the original game who never appeared again, but this is an alternate version of her. You can also play as Dingodile and Cortex. But let's start with Tana. Tana is really fun to play as. I'm not a huge fan of her kick attack, I don't think it's very effective, and you can see yourself dying a lot more by trying to use that than compared to her other attacks. Not only that, but she has a classic jump attack and a new additional grapple hook move to help her tackle new enemies and reach different platforms and boxes which are a little too far away. And can I just say, this version of Tana looks great. I love her design. She looks totally different than from before. She's now a badass with a really cool, colourful haircut, and I remember reading a while back on why Tana never appeared in the series again, and it turns out it's because the developers thought that her design was too sexual, with her, massive bazungas. But in this game they just gave her a really good ass instead, so who cares? I think this is a great way to reintroduce this character because all she was known for in the original games was popping up at the beginning, popping up at the end, and getting kidnapped by Cortex in the bonus stages. So Tana is awesome in this game. The second new playable character is Dingodile. Yep, Dingodile, half dingo, half crocodile, the Australian psychopath with a flamethrower. Now, a lot of people have said in their Crash 4 reviews that I've watched, including much larger channels than myself, that this is the first time Dingodile is playable in any Crash game. Incorrect! You can select Dingodile as a playable character in Crash Bash. I may be biased here, but I have a lot of sweet memories of Crash Bash, and I remember playing through Adventure Mode as Dingodile, and you know what? I got so far in that game, I got to the final walk room and then accidentally deleted my fucking save, and I've never forgiven myself since.
Years of academy training wasted.
The world was seriously against me that day, but yeah, Dingodile was playable in Crash Bash. Maybe not to the same extent he was in this game, but he was playable. Anyway, so Dingodile in this game is probably my favourite new additional character. I love the way he looks and the way he controls, his new vacuum looking gun thing, the level designs, the way he swears. It's all fun stuff. But I want to talk about that vacuum gun for a second. This attachment replaces his trademark flamethrower, which was a little disappointing as I would have loved to have walked around with a flamethrower just burning everything in sight. But the vacuum gun is still a shit ton of fun to use. You can use it to temporarily hover over obstacles, reach platforms, you can use it to suck in TNTs, to use it as projectile weapons, and you can demolish boxes left, right and centre. This is a ton of fun to use. And I kind of like that Dingodile in this game. He's now retired and kind of on the Bandicoot side. I've always liked that kind of story where the villain helps out the heroes, but as long as it's done well. With Dingodile's size as well, he can tail spin attack and break boxes that are stacked up in 4s and sometimes 6s. It's so satisfying to watch all these Wumpa Fruits just absorb into you all at once. It's so orgasmic.
Gonna do it? Oh!
And I think this is the most I've ever heard Dingodile talk as well. His voice actor does a really good job, especially with this part.
Bastards!
Ooh, you kiss your mother with that mouth?
And the final new character you can play as is Cortex. Well, technically Cortex is no stranger to being a new playable character in the game, but I think he's my least favourite character to play as in this game out of all of them. He has a bit of a crappy jump, he carries his blaster which he can turn enemies into platforms that you can jump on. He has a dash move, but to me this is really awkward to use. I found myself dying so many times just trying to use this goddamn move. But I do think this is my favourite design of Cortex yet. So overall we have 5 playable characters. We have Crash, Coco, Tana, Dingodile and Cortex. So there's no shortage in variety in terms of characters and they're all really fun to play as. But at this point I think I'm going to be the 87th million YouTuber to complain about this, but despite this being probably the best Crash Bandicoot ever made, it's also the hardest. And I mean, there is no Dark Souls comparison here. Crash 4 is so hard.
Ooh, okay, come on. You want a piece of me? Ooh, okay, come on. You want a piece of me? Ooh.
With the way the levels are structured and laid out, it's all about split-second decision making and making sure that you don't die. And trust me, you're going to die a lot in this game, and I mean a lot. Thanks to this game's new modern mode which gets rid of the life system, if you're not looking for 100% completion, you can die as many times as humanly possible and still continue from that exact point you left off. But if you prefer retro Crash style, you can keep switching between modern and retro. Retro gives you lives, modern doesn't. And while this new addition to the game is great for players like me who aren't the most skilled and someone who generally hates life systems in general, it punishes you because to get certain gems in the game you need to finish the level with 3 deaths or less. And at the start of the game, the first few levels seem to be a piece of piss, but holy shit does this shit get difficult. So overall you have 6 gems to collect in every single level. The first gem, all you need to do is collect 40% of the Wumpa Fruit in the level. Second gem, 60%. Third gem, 80%. The fourth gem is the trademark break all the boxes, and the fifth gem, complete the stage within 3 deaths or less, and the final gem is the hidden gem. It sounds like an interesting way to get the level going, right? But it's not always the case when some of the boxes in these levels are so goddamn well hidden. I lost fucking count of the amount of times I went for 100% in every level and ended up finishing the level with still still 15 to 10 boxes missing. Like, are you fucking serious? Some of them are so well hidden that I didn't even realise they were there until watching other YouTubers' reviews on the game. Now, I remember specifically trying to 100% Dingodole's first level, and the amount of times that I went back through that level, carefully looking around me to see where the boxes were, and yet even after grafting and grafting and grafting, and each and every time there would still be at least 10 boxes missing, I was getting so pissed off. I kept wondering whether it was just me missing a secret pathway or something, somewhere, but now the boxes are just so well hidden. It's almost like the game enjoys watching you suffer, playing these same stages again and again and again, looking for something which clearly isn't in sight. And the thing is, I never would have even known this without seeing other YouTuber reviews in the game. I mean, come on, I know not all games need to be self-explanatory, but seriously, you need a PhD in fucking patience to find all these boxes, which is clearly something that I don't have. So my advice would be, check your surroundings, check every single nook and cranny, and try not to suffer. Me in general, me and Patience have never seen eye to eye. In fact, and at this point, me and Patience may as well have a boxing match, because Patience has hated me since I was a kid. So the question you may have for me in this game is, did you get 100% completion? No.
No! No! No, never!
No, never.
After grafting for just half of these fucking gems in these levels and dying over and over again with just how complex some of the platforming is, I was losing my goddamn mind. If I was struggling with just this part, how the hell was I going to cope with 100% completion? Because me being not the most skilled gamer as it is, or the most patient gamer, I would have had to have got all 6 gems in every level, all 6 gems in every inverted level, which I'll talk about those in a second, all the colour gems, all the platinum relics, and believe me, I tried, but it was just so goddamn hard. I don't want to waste months of my life and drain what's left of my sanity just to get 100% on this game. This game was already causing me immense stress just trying to find these damn gems alone, let alone anything else. So anyway, the inverted levels are basically the exact same levels but inverted, you know, no surprise there. It gets a little repetitive trying to redo the same levels, but what really intrigues me was the colourful effects in some of these stages, but it's not enough to give you enough variety to make it feel like you're doing something different. I'm pretty much just running through the same stage, just backwards, and the boxes are placed in different directions. Mind you, another thing which really pisses me off during these stages is when Crash and Coco will see like a bridge collapsing or something blowing up, and then they'll just stand there looking a little confused. This is because at some point in the timeline, Tana, Dingodile or Cortex are the reason that these things are happening, as you can play through different sections of the same level with Crash and Coco but as the new characters. Which is all fine since it changes the look of the level and everything, but the annoying thing is, once you get to that point in the stage as one of the new characters, you then leave off from that same point as Crash and Coco, and you have to do that same level that you just did again. Let's say for example that you literally just finished a stage as Crash or Coco that was so difficult it made you have an Onision meltdown.
You would really do that!
You then play that same stage as a new character, and at some point in that stage the timeline will coincide with each other. You then have to finish off that stage as Crash or Coco. The stage that you literally just lost your mind in, now you have to do it again. Why? Come on, game, this is insane. You expect me to struggle through this fucking stage again? I'm already draining brain cells by the minute. Why do you want to add to my suffering? It's like the game literally tells you, oh hey, you know that stage that you just lost your mind on? Yeah, you gotta do that again. But it's not only that, if you want to get 100%, you also have to do the inverted stages. That's like 3 fucking times grafting through the same fucking stages, getting pissed off at the same things, which made you mad at the last time you played the stage. Damn, how many times have I said fucking in this video? I mean, can you imagine if this video was monetized? I would get no money from it whatsoever. So this game's difficulty is on a whole new level, and despite how brilliant the level designs are, despite how good the characters are, how good the story is, the structure, everything, as the game goes on and you start heading for that 100% completion, the game starts to feel like work. It was like I wasn't even having fun anymore, so I decided that it wasn't worth the stress and I just played it through normally without trying to get the 100% completion. Now Sam, I'm sorry buddy, but as I said over DMs, I choose my sanity over being a true gamer. You know, screw you and your stop signs. Annoying ad break time. Hey! Speaking of Sam the Media Man, why don't all you lovely people give him a follow on Instagram? His insight into movies and games is absolutely fascinating. The conversations that I've had with this guy about movies, he literally points something out, and half of the time they're things which would completely go over my head. I never would have thought of these things in a million years. Not only that, but he's also a soundbite to talk to, probably one of the nicest people that I've spoken to since starting this platform. And you know when you struck up a good friendship when you can simply insult each other without the other getting offended. Ain't that right, you prick? He's always real with me. He gives me common criticism in my videos, and I welcome all kinds of criticism, good and bad. Go and show my good buddy some love, but not too much love. So, one last thing I want to mention before I wrap this up, guys. The level Cortex Castle is an absolute fucking nightmare. I know there are some people out there that don't find this level that bad, but fuck me, you have to be a mightier warrior than fucking Kratos to get past this. It's all about timing and precision, but in the last section, just before the end, there's a section where you have to use all the quantum masks, one after the other, and it's so hard. I'm not even going to lie to you guys, this part was so challenging for me. I died 123 times, and yeah, I counted. That is embarrassing. Hey, it's Jim Bob in the editing room. Now, I don't know why I said I counted, because the game counts the deaths for you if you're a modern male, so I don't know why I said that, and who fucking knows. No matter what I did and how many times I tried, I just kept dying, whether I was missing a jump by a millisecond or something else entirely. I'm not even kidding you guys, this game was owning me so bad. The fiery rays that I felt just kept bubbling and bubbling. This game was clapping my ass cheeks harder than Shrek. I never felt such emotional pain in my entire life, and I've been through it all, trust me. Heartbreak, betrayal, bullying, shitty movies, and coping with the profound mess that is the rise of Skywalker. Holy shit, this was difficult. I only managed to do it eventually by knowing exactly what to do and timing it perfectly. Because I died so many times, I was able to memorize the path that needed to be taken. But oh my god, 123 deaths is just infuriating, especially when you know that you're close to the end. But despite everything I just mentioned and all the complaining I've done in this review, I still absolutely love this game. Crash is once again in the spotlight, and that makes me a very happy man. Overall, Crash Bandicoot 4 is definitely worth playing, but 100% completion, I generally don't think it's worth it. Hats off to anyone who has completed this game 100%, I salute you, you brave soldiers.
One more thing!
Alright then everyone, I think this is the moment you've all been waiting for. I asked you guys on Instagram to vote in a poll of whether you want me to do the Crash Bandicoot victory dance at the end of this review. And you all voted yes, so I'm going to be doing that for you right now. But just be warned, if you cringe so fucking bad that your eyes pop out and that your face stays exactly the way your cringe face looks, it's all your fault because you asked for it. And now I'm a meme for life. So that was the review. Thank you very much, guys. I hope you liked it. As always, I hope you have a fantastic day. If you like what I do here, consider clicking that subscribe button. I really appreciate it. Remember, it's not just a movie, it's an experience. Stay awesome, everyone, and have a good day.